Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There's a lot that I want to say, but I also don't want to have this video demonetized. There's a lot that I could say. I don't know if it would be worth it. I feel like I'm just screaming into the void half the time. Let's have a conversation. Let's just have a conversation. I have a question for all of you before I start talking about whatever this game was that we just saw between the Oilers and Sabres. What's everyone been up to lately? What are some fun, positive things that you've all been up to lately? I'm going to tell you something fun that I've been doing lately that has been much more fun than watching the Oilers. I started up a new Pokemon Emerald file back on the Game Boy Advance SP. Man, look how old this thing is, hey? A lot of you watching probably weren't even born when this thing came out. There's a lot of you youngins out there. But if you happen to be of the age that knows what this is, that's what I've been doing. It's been a lot of fun. I've been naming Pokemon after different Oilers. Like, we got Ike Howard the Trico. That's fun, right? Like, this is significantly more fun than whatever the Oilers currently are. The state of the Oilers is really bad. The state of the roster construction is not great. Their 5-on-5 play continues to be abysmal. And there's just no life in the team. They're very boring. I've talked about how boring this team is all year long. Chris Knobloch has completely sucked the life out of this team. The way this team generates offense is, I mean, if it's not Connor and Leon, and if it's not on the power play, they don't do anything. They just do that weird skate into the offensive zone, button hook, play to the blue line. Forwards are all wide. There's nobody in front of the net, nobody in the inner slot. Darnell Nurse will throw 1,500 wrist shots from the blue line and kill all zone time and pressure every single time he's on the ice. It just hasn't been fun. This team has not been fun this season, so that's why I want to ask, and why I am asking everyone, what are some fun things that you have been doing while the Oilers continue to struggle and be very frustrating? For me, playing some old school Pokemon, getting that nostalgia hit is always a good time. Hopefully you are all up to some fun things. The Oilers tonight, they lost 5-1 to the Buffalo Sabres. Welcome in. Welcome back if you're tuning in. If you've been here before, welcome if you are a first-time viewer. If you like today's video, hit the like button. If you really like it, subscribe to the channel as we continue to discuss the ups and downs of the Edmonton Oilers. It's been mostly, they're just skidding along. I know Nugent Hopkins is not in the lineup. I know Kasperi Kapanen is not in the lineup. But honestly, even if they were in the lineup, yeah, maybe Lazar comes out, sure. And then Noah Philp is probably out of the lineup too. Do Nugent Kapanen add enough to this lineup to instill any confidence that the Oilers would be playing better? Probably not. This is just how the Oilers play. The Chris Knobloch system, very perimeter, very boring. They don't generate a lot of high-danger chances. In fact, heading into the third period in this game, the Oilers had one high-danger chance at 5-on-5, and Buffalo had 11, at least according to Natural Stat Trick. So there was that. That's a lot of fun. Stuart Skinner, after 2 consecutive strong starts tonight, didn't have his best game. The team in front of him obviously did not even remotely have a good game. One of the worst defensemen in the history of the NHL over the past few weeks here. Just putting it out there. Darnell Nurse. I don't know what it's going to take to get Darnell Nurse healthy scratched. But then you get into this problem. This is a problem with Edmonton. If you healthy scratch Darnell Nurse, who do you replace him with? Who are you replacing him with? It's like when fans were calling for Bouchard earlier this season to get healthy scratched. Who's going out there and replacing the minutes that he plays? Like, that's the problem, right? Now, at least Bouchard can provide a little bit of offense. Darnell Nurse provides literally nothing at this point. He is below replacement level in terms of his performance. I used to think Darnell Nurse's big problem was he never had a proper top 4 D-man to play next to. Early in Darnell Nurse's career, he had Chris Russell to play next to. And love or hate Chris Russell, there's a lot of people in the analytics community, like myself, did not really care for Chris Russell. Always top 5 in block shots and all these different defensive stats. But my argument is he's blocking shots because he's stuck in the defensive zone all game and not ever generated anything on offense. Now, I know there are roles. It is okay to play defense. You don't always have to generate offense. There are player types, player roles. The Chris Russells of the NHL don't really exist anymore. You do have to figure out how to play with some kind of offensive instincts if you want to make it in today's NHL. But I used to think, okay, Darnell Nurse's big problem here is he plays next to Chris Russell. And Chris Russell, his style of game doesn't suit Darnell Nurse, who likes to skate with the puck, use his feet, can be physical as well. Nurse used to be much more physical than he is now. And then Darnell Nurse got paired with Cody Ceci. Ken Holland went out, signed Cody Ceci to a long-term extension or contract as a free agent. Oh my goodness. Cody Ceci, we all know the Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci dynamic. I almost turned into the Joker during the playoffs a couple of years ago because of Cody Ceci and Darnell Nurse. So, a lot of fans like myself and others out there, you're like, okay, well, Darnell Nurse, his metrics and his performance isn't good because he's stuck next to Cody Ceci, right? He's got to babysit Cody Ceci. And then we head into this season. Now, last year, Nurse did actually have a pretty decent year. He had couple different defense partners throughout the season. Him and Stetcher were pretty effective last season. And then they picked up Wallman mid-season, or I guess near the trade deadline. But last year, Darnell Nurse, for the most part, held his own above water at 5-on-5, which was great. Love that. This year has not been the case. And he is playing primarily next to Jake Wallman, and he gets most of his ice time with either Connor or Leon. It's not like Darnell Nurse is out there when the third and fourth line for the Oilers is out there. So you can't even make that argument like, oh, well, Nurse is getting shelled because he's out there with like Frederick and Mangiapane every single shift. No. Darnell Nurse gets a lot of ice time with Draisaitl and McDavid. He gets a lot of ice time next to Jake Wallman. Jake Wallman is a legitimate top 4 D-man in the NHL, and what we're seeing from Darnell Nurse right now is not top 4 type defending. And used to think, okay, well, it's Chris Russell's fault. It's Cody Ceci's fault. What we're going to blame Jake Wallman now? Maybe we have to start actually looking at Darnell Nurse as probably a big problem here. And a lot of us have known this, right? It's not like this is a new conversation that we're having with Nurse. And I don't mean to just pick on Nurse specifically. It's just this game today, a lot of the issues that Nurse has had this season came out once again tonight. So that's why I'm talking about Nurse. I know we can talk about the goaltending until we're blue in the face. We can talk about Stan Bowman's roster construction. We can talk about Trent Frederick being just invisible every single night. For what it's worth, I thought Frederick played okay today. I didn't think he was the worst player out there, but I didn't think anyone on Edmonton really looked good. I thought Connor McDavid maybe had one of his worst games as an Oiler after playing a really good game against Carolina. Darnell Nurse, not good right now. Not good. The goaltending situation, not good. They have a back-to-back coming up here on Wednesday and Thursday. They play Washington and Tampa back-to-back, which means Calvin Pickard is about to get a start on one of those games. That's not good. We like Calvin Pickard's save percentage this season, .830, over 4 goals against average. He's one of the worst goalies in the league in goals saved above expected. It's not going to be a good game, whichever one he plays, whether it's against Washington or Tampa. And then on the second half of the back-to-back, or I guess not the second half, you have 3 games in 4 nights. The game on Saturday against Florida is also going to be probably abysmal to watch. We needed the Oilers to go 500 on this road trip. They have 2 wins, both in overtime. They haven't had a regulation win since October 28th. 4 regulation wins in 21 games this season is not good. And the schedule has not done them any favors. I'm assuming that there's probably some form of fatigue factor going on with some of this. But at the same time, if there is fatigue, Chris Knobloch, you keep running McDavid and Draisaitl into the ground, playing them a ton of minutes. But like I said, you run into that problem where no one else is really doing anything. So who do you replace these minutes with? If it's not Connor and Leon producing, who's producing for the Oilers right now? It is ugly. It is very, very ugly. And I think one of the most disappointing things about this game, sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained right now. I think one of the most disappointing things about this game was at the end of the second period, Podkolzin, he gets into a spirited fight with Peyton Krebs. Krebs, of course, took McDavid down pretty hard earlier in the second, and Podkolzin was having none of that. He's protecting his captain, has a spirited tilt with Krebs, lands a bunch of rights, and, you give the decision to Podkolzin. The Oilers should have built off that. There should have been energy from that. You should have been like, okay, Podkolzin, he's engaged, protecting his captain. If you're one of the leaders on the Oilers, if you're a McDavid or Draisaitl or whoever, I'm shocked that wasn't an inspiring thing for the team. I'm shocked that they didn't come into the third period just ready to rip and just get going on offense. I think in the first 10 minutes of that third period, I think the Oilers had 2 or 3 shots, and I think they all came from the blue line. Like that's where we're at. And when the Oilers pulled their net when they were down by 3 goals, I like almost every shot that they took was from the blue line. I don't understand why they can't work the cycle and work pucks into the inner slot or attack off the rush. I know McDavid tried to do a few things off the rush in this game, didn't really work out. And then, of course, you have some out-of-town media absolutely making fun of Edmonton's goaltending situation. This is the out-of-town media, and this is what they think of the Oilers' goaltending, by the way. I'm just going to play the clip. I'm going to have the sound up for you. Here you go.
Yeah, empty net for Edmonton.
Yeah, it has been most of the night, so it's a difference.
It has been most of the night. What's the difference? See, that should be a wake-up call, right? You have outside media dunking on your goaltending situation. If that is not a proper wake-up call for Stan Bowman to address this, I don't know what is. And for the media also covering this team in Edmonton, the Edmonton region, when is Darnell Nurse going to be properly called out? When is Darnell Nurse going to get healthy scratched? I think those are a couple of questions that are important to pose here. The Oilers were dunked on by a Sabres team that is dealing with injuries, a Sabres team that is, I think coming into the game, they were dead last in the Eastern Conference. Now, I know in the Eastern Conference, last place and like first place, they're not separated by a ton of points right now. It's a very like compressed standings, but this is a team where supposed Stanley Cup contenders. At this point, I'm ready to call them frauds, and maybe not frauds, maybe just poorly coached at this point. It's tough, right? Because Knobloch, 2 years in a row in the Stanley Cup final, Chris Knobloch watches his team get dunked on by a Florida Panthers team that constantly forechecks, attacks off the rush, attacks off a cycle game, strong special teams, and pressures on the forecheck constantly. They always have a forward on the defenseman. Every single second you have the puck, someone is on top of you. And Chris Knobloch went, you know what? I got outcoached in 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row. And instead of maybe adjusting my system, maybe trying to tweak it to kind of, match what Florida does, a very successful team that just won the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row against you, Chris Knobloch, and the Edmonton Oilers. I'm Chris Knobloch. I decide to make this the most boring team to watch imaginable. I am going to suck the life out of the offense. I'm going to suck the life out of the defense. I'm going to make this team play neutral zone, boring perimeter hockey that puts their fans to sleep every single night and also blow several multi-goal leads throughout the season. This is a team that wants to, commit to a full defensive system, but then when they have leads, they can't hold on to them either because their system doesn't work for that and their goaltending's not good enough. There are so many things to talk about in this game, man. It is frustrating. That's why I play Pokemon. That's why I do other things that are fun, because if you let this team dictate how you feel every single time you watch them, this is going to be a long season. It already feels like a long season, doesn't it? I'm sure a lot of you are watching, and you're all probably pretty exhausted from watching this team right now. I don't know what the solutions are. Internally, I don't know what you do if you're the Oilers. Is it worth firing the head coach? Maybe. That probably kickstarts the team a little bit, but it's not like you just overhaul the entire system mid-season. It's not really how that's going to work. And who do you even replace Knobloch with? You could replace him with DeBoer, but if you get to the playoffs, you're probably not going to the Cup final. But if you get to Game 7, you're never going to lose. Beat DeBoer, right? That's his whole thing. Never loses in Game 7s. That's DeBoer, right? You could hire a Tortorella. I don't think the team needs a Tortorella-type coach, but John Tortorella's out there. You could hire him. I don't know, man. When it comes to internal solutions, who do you call up from the AHL? Now, I think there are quite a few players in the Oilers' bottom 6 that you could healthy scratch and then bring up different guys from the AHL. Bakersfield, Quinn Hudson's been playing really good. Quinn Hudson's looking pretty good down there. Szymanski looks pretty good. I don't know. You just sent out Ike Howard. How could he be less effective than whatever Trent Frederick and Matthias Janmark and Curtis Lazar are right now? I don't know. Are there internal solutions? Are there external solutions? If you're Stan Bowman too, like you also want some semblance of stability, I guess is the word that I would use. But how much stability are you waiting to be patient on until you're like out of the playoff hunt, right? Like And I know I don't mean to bring up the Toronto Maple Leafs here, but they're also going through a kind of a similar situation where their management and coaching has galaxy brained the way their team is constructed and the way they should play, and taken a lot of the creativity away from the offense. And yeah, Toronto, they lost Marner. The Oilers haven't lost a player of like Mitch Marner's caliber in terms of offensive production. The Leafs, they have their superstars, and when their superstars aren't producing, like where would the Leafs be without Tavares right now? And where would the Oilers be without McDavid and Draisaitl? Like, I'm only comparing the two because those are two teams where they've been pretty similar in terms of how they've performed in the regular season, standings wise, goals for, special teams like Matthews, Marner, McDavid, Draisaitl. Now Marner's gone, and the Leafs overall, they are struggling. They do get caved at 5-on-5, just like the Oilers are right now. And I don't know what the solution is. I really don't. And if you're a Leafs fan who's watching, by the way, sorry for the random stray bullet. You're probably just like looking around like, what the hell did I do? I just wanted to bring that up because like there are similarities and comparisons to different teams in the league. This is not just like an Oilers problem, I guess is what I should say. I was trying to say that this is not just an Oilers problem. As fans of this team right now, yes, it is frustrating. But yeah, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what the solutions are. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Tomorrow we'll try and dissect it a little bit further in the day after discussion. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's a frustrating loss. Wish I had more to say. I wish I had more solutions to give as a fan. But I feel like we've talked about so many of the same talking points all year long that at this point it's just up to the group. It's up to the group in that room. And if they can't get the job done, if they're not a playoff team, we're going to have lots of problems and many, many discussions. Oh, boy. By the way, who should I catch next, right? So I have Evan Bouchard, the Lotad. I have Ike Howard, the the Trico. I got Neon Leon, the Talo. Let me know who I should catch next in Pokemon Emerald as well. If you're a big Pokemon fan, let me know in the comment section below. I'll talk to you all tomorrow on the day after. Thank you all so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and we'll see you soon in Oil Country. Tell someone you love them, and as always, fight like a kid, fight like Ben. Let's go, Oilers.